On September 23rd in 2019, park rangers discovered an abandoned campsite deep in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. 3 tents remained set up. Meals were half-eaten around a cold fire pit. Personal belongings were left untouched. Wallets, car keys, even their clothes. And what they didn't find were the 3 friends who had driven there for a weekend reunion: Sarah Byrne, Marcus Rodriguez, and David Walsh, all 34 years old. They vanished without a trace. And 2 weeks later, a hiker found Sarah Byrne sitting alone by a creek. She was dehydrated and in shock, and she was taken to Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, and that's where she spent 3 days, refusing to speak to anybody about what happened. But this recording, it was made on her 4th day in the hospital when she finally agreed to tell her story to Detective Lisa Morrison. Now, what Sarah revealed about that weekend changed everything investigators thought that they knew about the missing persons case. This is her confession. And this is the truth about what they did as children and why the Grove never let them ever forget. And I know what you want to hear. You want me to tell you that Marcus and David fell off a cliff, or they got lost, or that some maniac in the woods killed them. You want a normal explanation for what happened out there? But there isn't one. I've been sitting in this hospital bed for days, and I finally understand what I have to do. There's a little girl who's been waiting 23 years for someone to be brave enough to tell her story properly, to make sure that people know that she mattered. Her name was Jenny. And we broke something beautiful that was made for her. And you have to understand, we were just kids. We were 11 years old. We were spending our last summer together before Marcus's family would move to Portland. We thought we owned those woods. Like we discovered something that no adult knew about. This hidden grove deep in the forest. 7 silver birch trees. They were arranged in a perfect circle around this massive oak. We called it the Hollow Grove because of how quiet it was when you stepped inside. It was like someone had turned down the volume on the entire world. And we built a fort right there. We spent every day that summer exploring, making plans, and pretending that we were the only ones who knew about this secret place. And then we found that shrine. It was tucked between the roots of the old oak. It was small, it was handmade, it was obviously put there by someone who cared deeply. Plastic flowers that faded to gray. A teddy bear with one eye missing, a wooden cross with Jenny, forever loved, burned into it in careful letters. Child's toys were scattered around it like offerings. Someone had lost a daughter. Maybe she died. Maybe she'd gone missing in these woods. Someone had made this place sacred to remember her. We broke that. We broke something sacred. And not because we hated it, but because it made us feel something that we weren't ready for. Grief. And love. The weight of someone else's loss, it was easier to mock that than to understand what it really was. Someone had lost their daughter. Someone had poured their heart into making sure that she wouldn't be forgotten, and then we turned their love into nothing. And when we were done, that shrine was scattered, it was broken and desecrated, and we stood there in silence afterward. And for the first time, that grove felt wrong. Like the air went completely still, not just quiet, dead. It was like someone had sucked all that life out of the space all around us. And that's when Marcus found the mark on the oak. These 3 circles burned into the bark. intertwined with each other. They were still warm to the touch, and none of us had seen that before. Now it was right there. I mean, right where the shrine used to be. Well, we can't tell anyone. That's what Marcus whispered. He's the leader of our group. He was the one who made all the rules. If they find out what we did. So we swore that day, never speak about it. Not the shrine, not what we'd done to it, and not those strange marks that appeared afterward. We told ourselves it was just a mean prank. Whoever made that shrine, they'd understand. Kids being kids. But God, we knew better. Of course we knew better. We knew better than that. Even at 11, we knew we'd done something unforgivable. And then we grew up. We moved away. We lived our separate lives. I became a graphic designer in Seattle. Marcus got married and got divorced. He started managing a restaurant in Portland, and David bounced between jobs. He never quite got his life together. He started drinking too much. And we stayed in touch through social media, but we weren't really friends anymore. We were just people who used to know each other. People who shared this secret that we never even talked about. And then that's when David started seeing those marks. He called me first 3 months ago, middle of the night. He was drunk and crying. He said, "Sarah, I'm seeing it everywhere. The mark from the oak, it's burned into my coffee table. It showed up on the bathroom mirror this morning. What the hell is happening to me?" I told him he was drinking too much and he needed help. And then 2 weeks later, he sent me a photo. 3 circles burned into the wooden desk at work. The wood was still smoking. His boss had no explanation for it. That's when Marcus got the package. No return address. Just his name and Portland address written in a child's handwriting. And inside it was a teddy bear with one missing eye. It was the same teddy bear he mocked 23 years ago, and somehow it was looking exactly the same. Not aged, not weathered, just waiting. We all got them. The toys from the shrine delivered to our adult homes by someone who knew what we'd done. And David got that wooden cross. I got a handful of those same plastic flowers now. Somehow we're fresh and new. I mean, the Grove was calling us back. Marcus was the one who suggested the reunion. He said he was walking through woods every night. He was hearing a voice calling for Jenny, and always ending at the Grove, always waking up when he saw what we'd done to that makeshift shrine. We have to go back. That's what he told us on the phone. We have to make it right somehow. And David agreed immediately because he'd been seeing the marks everywhere by then. Everywhere. Burned into the park benches, scorched into the sides of the buildings, appearing on his own skin when he woke up. The Grove wasn't letting him forget. I should have said no. I should have hung up and moved across the country and pretended that I never knew then. But that guilt was eating me alive, too. 23 years of carrying what we'd done, it was finally catching up to all of us. We met at the campground on a Friday evening, and it felt real strange seeing them again after so many years. Marcus looked haunted, like he hadn't even slept in weeks. And David looked worse, thin, and he was jittery, and with fresh burn marks on his forearms. It looked almost exactly like the 3 intertwined circles. And the moment that we stepped onto that familiar trail, I knew we'd made a mistake. The woods felt just different now. Older, angrier, like they'd been waiting decades for us to return. And the Grove, it was exactly as we left it, except that one thing. The shrine was back. not rebuilt. It was like restored. It was the same teddy bear. It was the same wooden cross. It was the same plastic flowers arranged exactly as they had been before we destroyed them. As if our cruelty never even happened. How is that possible? David whispered. And that's when we all heard that voice. It was high and thin. It was weaving through the trees in this pattern. It hurt to follow it. It would rise and it would fall and it would pause and then it would restart. It was like it was searching for something, for someone. Jenny, it called. Jenny, where are you? That was the same voice, Marcus said, that had been hearing in his dreams. The voice of someone who had been looking for a lost child for longer than we'd been alive. The air around us grew thick. It was like trying to breathe underwater, and my flashlight, it started flickering. The beam, it was getting weaker, even though the batteries, they were completely fresh. Something moved. Between those birch trees, something moved. God, I can still catch glimpses of it when I try to close my eyes, but my brain keeps trying to forget the details. It was tall, it was pale, moving, wrong somehow. I don't know, not walking, just moving. I can't really describe it. It's just those eyes. They weren't eyes at all. It was just like points of light where eyes should have been. God, I heard its voice so clearly. Three who desecrated, three who broke what was sacred. The grove remembers. Jenny remembers. And Marcus starts babbling apologies then. We were just kids. We didn't understand. Sorry does not restore what was broken. Sorry does not heal what was hurt. And then, that's when I understood. Jenny wasn't angry. She was still lost. She's still waiting for someone to remember her the way that her family had, with love and with tenderness and with the knowledge that she mattered. We hadn't just broken toys. We'd broken a parent's way of keeping their child alive in this world. What do you want from us? I asked. What was taken must be returned. What was scattered must be gathered. And what was mocked must be honored. And the thing circled the grove. Wherever it passed, I smelled flowers, real flowers, not plastic ones. The scent of a child's funeral, of grief that never fades. I must have blacked out after that. And then when I came to, Marcus was gone. His clothes were hanging from the oak branches, swaying in a breeze that didn't move anything else. But there was something else. That teddy bear from the shrine, it was missing too. She took him. That's what David whispered. He was staring at that restored shrine with the kind of animal eyes. Jenny took him to replace what we broke. The second night was worse. We couldn't leave. Every trail led back to the grove. David stopped trying to escape after a while and just sat by that shrine, talking to it like someone was listening. I'm sorry, he kept saying. I'm so sorry, Jenny. We didn't know you were still here. We didn't know you were watching. And sometimes I'd hear a child's voice answering him, soft and sad. And then when I looked, there was only David. Tears were streaming down his face. And then by morning, he was gone too. His clothes joined Marcus's on the oak. But the wooden cross had vanished from the shrine. I was all alone then. With whatever Jenny had become, whatever we'd helped to create with our cruelty. And then she came to me at sunset. Not that tall, pale, thin thing from before. This was different, this smaller. It was the shadow of a little girl, standing at the edge of the grove. Why did he hurt me? She asked in a voice like wind through these leaves. I fell on my knees. We didn't know that you were real. We thought that it was just stuff that someone left behind. We were just stupid kids. We didn't understand what we were destroying. But I was lost, she said. Lost and scared and all alone, and my family made this place so I wouldn't be forgotten. And then you made it into nothing. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, sorry's not enough. But, and then she tilted her head. She was considering. You came back. And you remembered. That matters. So what do you want from me? Tell them about me. Tell them what you did. Tell them why I was here and that I mattered. That someone loved me enough to make this shrine. And if I do that, if I tell everyone, then maybe I can rest. Maybe I can stop looking for what was taken from me. And she faded as the sun set, leaving me alone in that grove with the restored shrine and my friends' empty clothes. I was found the next morning. I didn't tell the Rangers the truth. I couldn't. How do you explain that? A dead child collected your friends because you desecrated her memorial 23 years ago. I lied to the police, to their families, to anyone who would ask. I said they got lost. I said that I searched, but I couldn't find them. But that guilt was killing me. Every night I dreamed of that little shrine, of Jenny's voice asking, why did we hurt her? And every morning I'd wake up with that taste. It was plastic flowers in my mouth. And so I'm telling you her story now. And it's not because I'm afraid. It's just because it's the right thing to do. Jenny Morrison was 7 years old when she got lost in those woods. And because her parents loved her enough to build something beautiful to remember her by, and because she deserved better than 3 cruel kids who turned her memory into nothing, and she's not lost anymore. She's not lost anymore. She is remembered now. She's remembered. Maybe that's all she ever wanted. Sarah Byrne died in her sleep that night after giving this statement. Hospital staff found her peaceful in her bed, no signs of trauma or distress. Her final words to the nursing staff were reportedly, "Tell them about Jenny. Don't let them forget." And the recording of her confession was found to be corrupted beyond recovery. Detective Morrison's notes from the interview disappeared from the case file the same evening. Marcus Rodriguez and David Walsh remain listed as missing persons. Their families, they still hope that they will be found alive. And following Sarah's statements, Forest Service records were searched for any mention of a missing child named Jenny. In 1987, Jenny Morrison, age 7, disappeared during a family camping trip in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. Her body was never recovered, and her parents, Robert and Linda Morrison, they confirmed they had built a memorial shrine for their daughter in the area where she was last seen. Detective Lisa Morrison, who interviewed Sarah Byrne, that was Jennifer Morrison's older sister. The shrine still stands in that grove of 7 birch trees, and park rangers report that visitors occasionally leave flowers and toys and notes for Jenny. The memorial has never been disturbed since Sarah's confession. Some promises, they say, are too important to break. Children should never be forgotten. What did you think of Jenny's story? Have you ever been the one who chose to protect rather than destroy, who honored a memorial, preserved a story, or stood up for someone who couldn't speak for themselves? Tell us below. And subscribe and join our community of people who understand that some promises are too important to break. Share with others who would enjoy this story as well, and I'll see you in the next video.